to a 4G back there earlier, and the whole thing just wonky. So this says I'm live. Let's see if we're live. You see, this cowboy's had enough. Patience is wearing thin. Yeah. Anyway, welcome back to the program, folks. I'm en route. This is a special edition on the road to Rochester, New York, to meet with refugees for a meet and greet with South African refugees in the USA. This will be the first actual meet and greet as such here in the USA. I've met with refugees. It wasn't really a meet and greet. They're one-offs. I met refugees in Twin Falls. I also met refugees in Alabama. This will be a meet and greet like we do in South Africa. So hopefully you guys can hear me. It really sucks that we lost the signal there, but that's the vagaries of mobile telecommunications. Went to a 4G signal. I was still broadcasting, but people were like, you were looping. So I had no control over that. I didn't know that except you guys were chatting and telling me that. But it definitely wasn't me. Yeah, so anyway, I'm back to 5G now. I'm within 26 miles, so about 40 kilometers of my destination, which is about 15 kilometers south of the city center of Rochester. I have to say the roads suck up here. The interstate was just golden, pothole-free, seam-free, smooth riding in Pennsylvania. Since I've come here, I've had to, it's like being in South Africa, I've had to dodge potholes on several occasions and keep my eye on the road because it's not pretty. The overtaking lane is fine, the passing lane, but this right lane where I have to stay is just a mess. This is a mess. But the area I'm at now is I've come out of the mountains. The mountains now are behind me and they go to the northeast, so up like that. And this is all flat farmland around here. And the cities haven't encroached. It's still pretty far south of Rochester. Of course, Rochester was home of Eastman Kodak, the biggest film and camera company in the world for decades, nearly a century. But they've folded up their tent. They're out of business, I think, now. It's a shame. There's a lot of money to be made in Rochester. It's pretty crazy. Binghamton used to be a big IBM center. That's no longer there. So New York has lost a lot of its of course, Corning is amazing. Corning, located in Corning, New York. That company has reinvented itself so many times over the past 200 years. It's amazing. They were a glassware company. They did other things. That stuff fell off, so they got into fiber optics at the right time and made a fortune and survived. Their stock's worth a lot. They made a ton of money. Then the fiber optic market kind of dropped out because I think of foreign imports, and they reinvented themselves in industrial glass for microprocessors and such. They're still around. Corning is an amazing story of a company that just survived, even despite technology changing. Sometimes them being a little bit behind it, but they held on and they made the transition. So I don't know where they're at now. I haven't looked into Corning in a while. I have been to the glass museum there, which is pretty damn incredible. So I'm kind of turning to the northeast on the highway here. So I hope you guys can hear me okay. Okay, so you guys can hear me. And apologies to those of you who dropped off. I mean, I didn't even know that you were looping. I was still broadcasting. I had a strong signal on my end, so I don't know what happened. It must have been the tower not getting enough data through, but hopefully it's better now. Thank you. I am driving safely, folks. My eyes are on the road and paying attention. I am following the speed limit. New York is not a place you want to speed in. They'll get you in a heartbeat here. So, not that I don't speed. It's not worth the insurance cost because it costs you a ton of money when insurance rates go up annually. And I prefer to, I hate to waste the money on things. I think higher insurance rates is a waste of money. So, Brian Logan, Don Lemon, Billy. Yeah, we were talking about Don Lemon earlier. And then someone asked about MTN. I thought that's why we got shut down. I thought we were being censored. By the way, I was never cussing. I saw somebody in the chat say I was cussing. I wasn't cussing. Also, the people that say Bravo, Sierra, Tango, Mike, Charlie, Foxtrot, that doesn't mean anything. To say that it's looping, it's in a loop or the stream you can't watch. That's much more helpful. Anyway, but for those of you who came back and weren't here earlier, thanks for coming back. Those who just found this stream, thanks for being here. Just as a recap, 3 things to talk about. 4 things actually: MTN, Don Lemon, Greenland, and what I'm doing. I'm into Rochester, New York, which is now my hotel is just 22 miles away. And I'll be meeting with refugees at 4:30 this afternoon in South Africa in the Rochester area. Some of whom apparently had a very good experience. Some say they've had a bad experience. We're going to investigate that. Not looking for a Nick Shirley moment, just trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. And remember, at the end of the month, on the 31st of January, folks, I'll be in Dallas, Texas, or near there, just north of Fort Worth in Argyle, Texas, for a big meet and greet. Looking forward to that. So that should be pretty cool. A lot of South African refugees in Texas. I don't know if they'll be able to attend. We've invited them, along with South Africans who live in Texas. Apparently there's a lot of them. And then in addition to that, we've also invited South Americans who support it. So that should be fascinating. So yeah, that means that by the end of January this year, I will have seen refugees in July in Alabama, in October in Idaho, in January in New York, and in Texas. So what's up next? I'm considering New England for refugees. It looks like we're getting more of a collection of them up here than I realized in New England, but I'll look at a flight for that because the drive is just too brutal. This is an easy drive. It's 5 hours. It's not fun, but and I've cut about an hour off, so it's not that bad. But it's straight shot, so you know it's also through beautiful terrain for the most part. Part of the Pennsylvania portion sucks, but the other part's gorgeous. But driving to Connecticut, oh gosh, I'd rather poke my eyes out. That's such a painful experience. Well, hello to everybody who's in the chat. Thanks for joining. I'm not reading the chat right now. I'm focusing on this crap here. It looks like a new section. Here's a repaired section of the highway. It looks like they resurfaced it. I don't know when, but not recently. And there are no potholes here, so man, it's pretty nice. Canisius Lake, whatever that is, never been there. But in this part of New York, when the Ice Age retreated thousands of years ago, it retreated over the Midwest and New York, and the glaciers, as they retreated back, when they came down, they carved out the soil and they dug these deep, what became lakes. And when they retreated and stuff melted, we have all these lakes and all these different soils that don't make sense geologically where they're at, except when you realize that there's an ice age which pushed all this gravel and all the rock and split it as the ice expanded south thousands of years ago. And then when it retreated, as Earth warmed again, the glaciers didn't really pull back. They just melted, went further back. And all these lakes where the low areas were formed. And in New York State, they have what's called the Finger Lakes. So you have like these 6 major lakes. There's a bunch more, but 6 major lakes that are over to the east of where I'm currently at. They go over all the way to where Cornell University is in Ithaca. In Ithaca and Cornell, from there to here, there are so many of these, and they're long. They're called Finger Lakes since they look like fingers on the map. If you look at the map in New York, you see like the 6 lakes. Some of them are quite large, but they're all pretty big. And they're still there from the last ice age. So it makes for a beautiful landscape and lots of opportunities. So economic opportunity for camping, and water skiing, and fishing, and sports recreation in the summertime. So it's really a nice geological legacy for New York. This part here is pretty flat. As I said, I came out of the hills. I came out of the mountains of Pennsylvania, and there's mountains briefly in that part of New York. And there are other mountains too, of course, located further east, up the Hudson Valley. Get up to Lake Placid, places like that, lots of mountains there. But this area here is relatively flat, lots of good farmland out here. A lot of Trump country in this part of the state. You don't think New York is a place where Trump does well, but Trump has still got about 40% plus of the vote in New York. So that's because that's outside the city. He did okay in the city, but a lot of nasty people in the city didn't vote for him. So I'm now passing the exit for Avon. I don't know if that's where the Avon company is from, but Avon. Of course, that's a river in England, so who knows. Lots of English place names in New York, as you would imagine. Lots of Native American names, too. So it's interesting that heritage survived. Of course, the Mohawks are in New York, and we're across this area into Lower Canada. So that's an important legacy of the area. This is in front of us. Dump truck. Behind you. Okay. Signal over. All right. So I am about 17 miles now from my exit. Looks like we're holding up on the stream. We're up to 159 here. I guess that just got better shape and left. Yeah, that's a sandstone topsoil. Yeah, I don't even behind that at all. Nope, we can pass this truck. This is Avon, New York. Looks like a tiny little dorf. Anyway, so the MTN thing I was asked about before we went dead, there are 6 anti-terrorism lawsuits against MTN in the United States currently in progress. And the chairman of MTN, during the time frame that these lawsuits are applicable, for the support of terrorism by being involved with Iran Cell, which funded terrorists, according to the U.S. government, in Afghanistan and Iraq, which murdered American service members. The chairman were Cyril Ramaphosa and then Nicklin. Jonas. And those two, their names are very much on the target list here for prosecution related to that. I don't know the status of that, but I do know those 6 cases. MTN last year sought to have the cases dismissed, and they failed. The cases remain in effect, and they're being pursued. So I don't know what the outcome of those cases will be, but it's not a good look for South Africa. I suspect that if there is criminal negligence or criminal culpability on the part of Cyril Ramaphosa and or Kamisa Jonas, that the U.S. government may just wait until delay these cases until Ramaphosa's out of office, and then they'll go after him. But you thought that the $580,000 in U.S. currency stuffed into suitcases and then illegally entered into the country, brought in illegally by a guy from the state with a very checkered history from Sudan, and then delivered to the Pala Pala game range and stuffed in a couch. I mean, who puts money in a couch? What are these people watching, 1930s movies or something? I mean, what's wrong with a bank? Don't you have a safe at the ranch? I mean, they did have a safe, did they not? That's just crazy. So we thought that Pala Pala was bad, but the stuff that people don't know about South Africa that the government's been involved in, that they've done, would make your toes curl. Really, some of it I'm aware of, but I'm not at liberty to discuss. If and when the things become a matter of public record, I'll be able to comment. But in the meantime, I can't comment about this because people are paying attention to it now. It is a matter of public record. What's going on with the MTN case? It's not a good look for South Africa, as well as the Test Flying Academy of South Africa. That is also very bad luck. Look, now I've written to these guys and asked them if they would like to be interviewed. They have a media contact. Hopefully they'll respond, and I'll be happy to give them a chance to be interviewed. It'd be great. But we'll have to wait and see. Anyway, I hope that they get a chance to come on my program and explain their position, because the media release that they put out there and the report that they released, they don't quite make sense. Maybe we don't have all the information, all the facts, that's why they don't make sense. Maybe they can clarify. But I mean, they're talking about they're shipping just commercial off-the-shelf technology, but even that, there are restrictions on that. Just because it's commercial off-the-shelf technology doesn't mean you can export it to a place like North Korea, Iran, or China. There are still limitations. So that doesn't mean that it was legal. I don't know if it was illegal or not. The US government says it was. But here's the question that beggars imagination. Why in the world is a South African company shipping Windows PCs to China? China builds more PCs than anybody now. Why would they be buying PCs that were probably shipped from China to South Africa and then installed with U.S. software? It doesn't make any sense. So their explanation may be valid, but I need to hear more. Otherwise, I'm going to have to say something that smells fishy, because it does smell fishy. It really does smell fishy. So hopefully they'll come on the program and we can talk about this. Rochester is now 20 miles away, and my destination is 13 miles away. So we're getting closer there. When I get to the hotel, I'll drop off, and then I probably will have a stream later on. Maybe with refugees, maybe not. We'll see. It'd be great if they want to go on air, but they don't have to. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so that'll be coming up hopefully a little bit later on. But in the meantime, Don Lemon has committed a federal offense. It's a felony offense by intimidating worshipers at a church. That violates the FACE Act from 1994, when Ted Kennedy sponsored Senator Kennedy. Became U.S. law under the Clinton administration. It's illegal to do that. It's a federal felony offense. I would like to see a SWAT team arrest him. Maybe he can hang with that guy that was in Chicago. Remember him? Remember the dude who claimed that white supremacists traveled up from Mississippi with a noose and tried to hang him? Race-baiting racist. That guy's just disappeared off the face of the earth. But what a scumbag. Attention-seeking scumbag. Thought he was clever. These people on the left are so stupid. They actually have bright people, but they're bright people they marginalize and push to the side. Most of the people that get attention from the left are just dumber than a box of rocks. Buick. Do we still make Buicks? I'm sure we still make Buicks. General Motors still makes Buicks. We've got rid of some other... Oh, I'm in the correct county now. I'm now in Monroe County, New York, which was my destination. Not this county, but the city of Rochester. Because there's a couple Rochesters apparently, where it fits in 2 counties apparently. So I'm in Monroe County now, and actually I'm not that far from one of the Great Lakes. Just north of Rochester is one of the Great Lakes. On the other side of that lake, of course, is Canada. So, yeah. There is a Indian reservation located further west of here. It's further west and south. I've gone through it before. I came back from Buffalo a few years ago. Boy, those are some really tall reeds on the side of the road. Huh. They're about 3 meters high. Some more cattails. Must be swampy right there. But yeah, getting close, down to 10 miles, 16 kilometers away from the destination. World Rugby keeps releasing stuff. It's like the third video alert I've got for World Rugby here. I'm on my way to America. What is that word? I don't know who that is. I can't read that. Somebody's on my way to America. Yeah, well, I'm in America, not in South Africa. I'm overdue for a trip back to South Africa, but events in my hip have precluded that. Not to mention some haymakers really don't like me. Yes, there are. So the weather's been strange. It's been clear and beautiful, but cold, below freezing. And then snow squalls crop up as I go through mountain valleys. And then the sun comes back out. I'm just in the sun. It's behind me, and now I'm heading into some clouds. Maybe some snow flurries will come down again. We'll see. But most people here are pretty much following the speed limit. I think maybe people might be going 5 or 10 miles over it. I'm being passed by somebody now. That's why I say 5 or 10 miles. But it's not worth the ticket. Not worth being stopped. It is snowing again. Yeah, we're going about 10 miles over the limit at least, maybe more. But yeah, going right through another snow squall here. But it's no accumulation, not bad. And so MTN, we talked about that. Talked a little bit about Don Lemon. The other thing is Greenland. What is President Trump doing? Sending text messages to the Norwegian Prime Minister telling him that since you people didn't give me a Nobel Peace Prize, I'm no longer going to pursue peace. I mean, this is very disturbing to hear. Also disturbing that he sent in a text message. You want to tell the guy that on a telephone call, that's one thing. Better to tell him in person, but to send a text message. The Norwegian Prime Minister's office confirmed that it was true. We haven't seen it, of course, when it first came out. Now it's really coming down the snow. I didn't really trust the story because the BBC, New York Times, CNN, and a couple other major media outlets all claimed falsely that Trump sent a letter. It wasn't a letter. I'm like, if he sent a letter, where's the letter? Well, they're all relying on a PBS report, which was posted on Twitter, because PBS doesn't need any money anymore because we cut off the federal funding. Corporation of Public Broadcasting doesn't get the money anymore. So now there's accumulation. There's actually the snow. It's been snowing for a little bit here. The road's starting to get a little snow on it. Anyway, so they all relied on the PBS report, which claimed there's a letter, which is a lie. There was no letter. It was a text message. It doesn't change the concern about the message, but it does change reality. And also, it shows you how lazy the media are. Instead of getting information, they rushed to get the story out, and then they updated it, and they still didn't get correct. I got the correct information on my YouTube broadcast, even though this occurred hours before I was on air, and I gave the correct information after the media had an opportunity to correct the record, because CBS News actually gave the correct link to the Norwegian Prime Minister's. I just slowed down because the snow is starting to accumulate. Yeah, it is. Whoa, I need to. It's really. Let me put on my fog lights here. There we go. Fog lights are on now. There, okay. There we go. I got my lights on now. Took my lights on, and my forward. Snow is starting to come down quite a bit now, folks. Yeah, so I have to slow down. I'm only 6 miles away though, which is good. I got almost all the way here, but whoa, it's starting to accumulate. This is some good snowfall now. Wow. If you stay with me when I stop in about 5 minutes, I will be able to show you how much snow is coming down. Traffic. I've slowed down by about 15 miles per hour on the road to drive safely. Although I can handle this road, but I'm not going to be arrogant. There's a truck in the left lane. Is that a snow truck or is it someone? I think it's a snow truck because it's got all his lights flashing. Yeah, people got their four ways on up here. Warning traffic, slow down. I'm going even slower now. Now I'm going almost 30 miles an hour slower. I think that's a snowplow in the left lane. It looks like. Hard to see. I've got a bus. Yeah, it is a snowplow. Yeah, visibility just dropped to about 100 meters or less. I could see for about 20 kilometers a couple minutes ago. Now visibility has dropped to about 100 meters, and it's getting less. Don't worry. People are probably saying in the chat, hey, Chris, don't stand in line. I can talk and chew gum at the same time. In fact, it keeps me extra alert by talking to you and explaining to you what's going on. It is a snowplow, and he is in the left lane clearing the road, even though there's not much really in the way of accumulation, but he's spreading salt, so get ready for sounds. Oh, rock salt all over my car. That stuff chips the paint. All right, I've passed him now. All right, yeah, there's not much snow for him to scrape off, but he is scraping the snow off. I got to give New York credit. They may have crappy roads, but the road crews are out early. So I'm down to 5 miles away from my destination now, the town of Henrietta. This is the Erie Canal National Heritage Corridor. And the snow is starting to accumulate here, so hopefully this will get cleared off. I wasn't expecting snowfall, I was expecting the squalls, but this is real now. Yep. The bus in front of me has got its 4 ways on the whole time. That's nice, but I've got my fog lights on, which is also additional visibility for people so they can see my vehicle. Welcome to America, South Africans. I remember years ago, I told this story before with a much smaller audience, when I was coming from Durban, and I was wearing shorts, and I got petrol, and next time I got out of the car was in Joburg in Sandton. I stayed at Holiday Inn Express or something like that. Anyway, as I drove, as I got past Pietermaritzburg, the snow started coming down, and people just started pulling over by the Mooi River Toll Plaza. They were off on the road, and I'm like, it was like this much accumulation, and they just, because they don't know how to drive in the snow. And I drove up through Fadarina's Pass and on up into Gauteng, and there was like 2 inches of snow by the time it was done. Okay, now we eased up there for a second. By the time it was done, and it was just crazy. South Africans didn't know how to drive in the snow, and understandable. I'm not making fun of them. I mean, if I grew up in a place that has almost no snow, I probably wouldn't know how to drive in the snow either. But the thing about driving snow is you have to not be arrogant with Mother Nature. You have to not be arrogant. So exit 14, so I've got about 2 miles before my exit. Because you think you've got control. I mean, I've hit black ice in Germany going through the Alps, headed to Garmisch, and slid off the road. Now, I could have spun the car around, it was that bad. I was going the speed limit, but nearly lost control of my car. Wasn't being arrogant or cocky, but because I wasn't being arrogant or cocky, I was able to get under control and turn into the slide, which straightened the car out. But there was nowhere for me to go because it was a narrow road, so I wound up in the side. And it wasn't a big deal, but I couldn't get myself out initially because I only had 2-wheel drive. And at the time, it was front-wheel drive. So what happened was some Germans came up behind me. And they helped push me out, which is nice. Yeah, you can't be arrogant and cocky in winter weather because you could be surprised by ice underneath the surface that you can't see, black ice. But all these people drive much faster. I've gone back up now. I've been able to increase my speed. I've got through that squall. My visibility now is back out to several kilometers. It's just weird. It just pops up and comes and goes. I'm passing over the interstate that runs from east to west to Buffalo, back over towards New York. That's Interstate 80, I think it is. Yeah, so I've just passed that. And my next exit is coming up at 2.9 miles. Well, that's 15 there. 15 days. So I'm staying behind the bus because he's got a good pace at about 55 miles an hour, even though it's 65 right now. And the sun is coming back out. I mean, it's just crazy weather, folks. So he's going about 55, and he's got his 4 ways on to caution people. I'm going to turn my fog lights off because I don't need fog light. Okay, he's slowing down now. That's not good. Okay, there's people. Let me get over here. A lot of people trying to get left lane. I need to be very careful because people can start acting stupid speeding here. But there's a truck up here that's hauling cars, and he's going very slowly. But he's not the only one. There's a lot of traffic going slowly up here. It's ironic because this stretch of the road is clear. But we're also coming up in a major metropolitan area, so that might be part of why people slow down. But I'm trying to keep a safe distance by the car in front of me. And wow, okay, we've got a traffic jam coming up. There's snow plows in front of us, that's why. About a kilometer in front of me, I can see snow plows in both lanes. And that's why all the traffic is backing up. Even though the road is clear, the sun is shining, there's snow plows out. So thank you for clearing the roads, but there's nothing to clear. Yeah, I'm slowing down to a crawl now. So I made really good time. Would have made it 2:27, but now I'm a little bit later. Still got 3 kilometers to my exit. Why couldn't these snow plows be 3 kilometers further down the road?
In 2 miles.
All right, so yeah, it wasn't a car carrier. It's the snow plows causing the slowdown. Now a lot of people are jumping over into the right lane. I don't know if it's because I think there's just one snow plow. There's a trooper up here. He's watching traffic. He's sitting in one of those divides in the highway. I'll wave to him. Two of them in a pretty good car. 2 cops in there. They're just chatting away. They're there just in case somebody has an accident. We're not giving speed tickets. All right, speed limit is still 65, but I'm not even going close to that. I'm going to speed limit about 30. I got 1.6 miles, so 1.5 to my turn off. Okay, well, if there's a plow in front of you, you did a piss poor job here because there's actually snow on the road. Much, as we see in Germany. Yeah, there's one of the plows up there. Got a gap between the traffic here, but I'm almost there, folks. I'm only 1.3 miles to my exit, and I think it's right off the exit. So I won't be able to show you the snowstorm because it's over. It only lasted for a couple minutes, but it really had an impact on traffic. Okay, I've got to slow down here because traffic's stopping in front of me. 1 mile. Oops, somebody lost control. Yeah, not now, not in front of me. They ran off the road some time ago. They're sitting over here on the divider. Yep, he's off the road. He must have slid out. Can't get off the road, so it's too light a car, and he has no snow change, so he's sitting in the grass embankment over there. Must not have been paying attention or going too fast. Lucky he didn't trash his car. It looks like there's no damage. Just sitting on an embankment. So I'm 7/10 of a mile away from my exit. I'm going to get over because there's a gap here, and my exit's coming up. There's a Walmart here. Okay, my gasoline's about the same price. Not that I like Walmart. There's a big Walmart right there. Reminds me of the Big Bang Theory. There's a big-ass Costco right here if you want a Texas steak. When they went to Texas. That was funny.
In half a mile, exit the highway at exit 14.
And that's my road, East Henrietta. Okay, so 4/10 of a mile. I'm going to get over the right-hand lane because that truck that's carrying cars is getting over here too. Okay. All right, it's kicked up a bunch of snow. What's that? That's a dead end. 3/10 of a mile, getting close. I'd love to get off this highway because traffic is going very slowly right now. The road is clear, so it won't disturb me. There's a huge T-Mobile place. It looks like an office, not a store. Yeah, it looks like a T-Mobile office. All right. Okay.
Exit the highway.
There's my exit. Yay. All right. The hotel should be close. All right. I'll go live a little bit later on from the hotel with news. I'll do some news, not just chatting on the phone here, folks.
Take the next left
Okay.
onto Route 15A, East Henrietta Road.
Yep. All right. Cool, nearly there. There's a DoubleTree. Could have booked that one.
Now
That's not where I'm
turn
at.
left.
So how y'all doing out there? That was a little fun. Green light, let's go. Wake up, people. DoubleTree is part of the Hilton chain, and I've stayed many of those. Look at the snow blowing off a roof here. Okay, I've got 1.4 miles to my hotel. DoubleTree looks like it's been around a while, so I'm glad I didn't book in there. Spark is a new chain from Hilton. It's a lower end, lower cost, I should say. The one I saw was rather nice. So looks like there's places to get food. There's a Burger Death right there. Staples. I call Burger King Burger Death. There ought to be a Chipotle right here too. Given this, there's a Subway. Ugh. Tommy John's or Jimmy John's, not my cup of tea. I've got to turn in about miles. So lots of shops here. Well, there's an Indian place. Ooh, Indian cuisine. Maybe I'll try that out. See if I regret it. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, there's lots of place to eat here. Tally Ho. Looks kind of old and crappy. But I'm a mile from my destination, so this will be a short trip. And I don't drink, so it's safe to do. He's not going to drive. There's a Thai restaurant. Ugh, no thank you. No thank you. So, hopefully the video from yesterday is getting a lot of attention. The interview with the family, Anthony and Elvira in South Dakota. Hopefully that's getting a lot of attention. It deserves a lot of attention. Breaking all the lies in South Africa. Has anybody seen that anywhere in the media? I doubt they're going to report on the story. South Africa being so dishonest. I will share that with Reuters and also with CNN. They won't do anything with it, but I'll share that plus my interview the other day with the Stoltze family. Okay, gotta be close now. 6/10 of a mile. Okay.
Prepare
So,
to arrive at your destination.
This is community college
on the
here.
left in half a mile.
Did she say on the left? I couldn't hear. I've got earpiece in. Zoom out and see which side it's on. Yeah, it's on the left. Okay, so we get over here. Clear. All right, good. Okay, 4/10 of a mile. It's right down there. I can see it from here. Haha. I can see it. I can see clearly now. The rain has come. I can see all obstacles in my way. Yep. Anyway, so people live here. Those are businesses. All right. So almost to my hotel.
Destination on the left in 1,000 feet.
Yes, I can see it, sweetheart. It's right there. She really wants to date me, this GPS. She's always talking to me. So I have to turn left here, wait a red light. Actually, that's the Holiday Inn Express. That's not the hotel I was looking for. Silly me.
You have reached your destination on the left.
Let's see anything on the left. I'm getting confused, man. Doesn't look like my hotel. That is further down. They gave the wrong address. Gosh, these people are going incredibly slow. Let's go. Speed limit is 40. Road is clear. All right, folks, I'm going to drop off and try to find a motel. I'll catch you guys again in a little bit, hopefully, okay? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it.